see you in the...
Few.
Hello, welcome to Best Movies channel. In this video, I introduce the story of Kramer vs. Kramer. Its rating on IMDb is 7.8, so stay with me. Kramer vs. Kramer is a 1979 American legal drama film written and directed by Robert Benton, based on Avery Corman's 1977 novel of the same name. The film stars Dustin Hoffman, Meryl Streep, Jane Alexander, and Justin Henry. It tells the story of a couple's divorce, its impact on their young son, and the subsequent evolution of their relationship and views on parenting. The film explores the psychology and fallout of divorce and touches upon prevailing or emerging social issues such as gender roles, fathers' rights, work-life balance, and single parents. Ted Kramer is a workaholic advertising executive who has just been assigned a new and very important account. Ted arrives home and shares the good news with his wife Joanna, only to find that she is leaving him and their son Billy. She takes $2,000 from their savings account, as that's what she had when they first got married. Ted tries to stop her, but Joanna is determined to leave. Ted and Billy initially resent one another as Ted no longer has time to carry his increased workload, and Billy misses his mother's love and attention. Ted doesn't know the house schedules, like Billy's school times, meals, etc. etc. He burns his hands and is hyper the first time he cooks breakfast for Billy and gets him ready for school. At work, Ted's boss Jim O'Connor is sympathetic but wants Ted to focus on the new airlines account 24*7. Ted assures that he is on top of his work. Ted blows his lid when Billy spills juice all over his work at home. They go grocery shopping together. Ted takes down all photos of him and Joanna together. Billy gets upset when Ted is late picking him up from a birthday party. After months of unrest, Ted and Billy learn to cope, and gradually bond as father and son. Ted disciplines Billy by putting a clamp on the number of HRS of TV viewing and eating proper food. He won't put up with Billy's tantrums. Ted is frequently late for important meetings at work and his clients are upset. Jim tells Ted that he is getting very nervous as it's been 8 months now and the situation seems to be getting worse, rather than better. Ted attends all of Billy's functions in school, including his performances. He has sex with a co-worker Phyllis Bernard from Office. Ted befriends his neighbor Margaret, who had initially counseled Joanna to leave Ted if she was that unhappy. Margaret is a fellow single parent, and she and Ted become kindred spirits. Margaret doesn't intend to get married again. One day, as the two sit in the park watching their children play, Billy accidentally falls off the jungle gym, severely cutting his face. Ted sprints several blocks through oncoming traffic carrying Billy to the hospital, where he comforts his son during treatment. 15 months after she walked out, Joanna returns to New York from California to claim Billy, and a custody battle ensues. The lawyer John Shaughnessy charges Ted $15,000, and more on appeal. Ted is removed by Jim from the airline's account and fires him from his job. Shaughnessy asks Ted to get any job before the hearing as it won't look good in court if Ted has no job. He gets a job of a junior copywriter that pays $5,000 less. During the custody hearing, both Ted and Joanna are unprepared for the brutal character assassinations that their lawyers unleash on the other. Ted didn't allow Joanna to work during their marriage. Her self-esteem was shot to pieces and it took time for her to realize that there was nothing wrong with her. Shaughnessy attacks Joanna on her sexual history, including the fact that she has a lover now. He also brands Joanna as flighty and a failure at all things she attempted. Margaret is forced to testify that she had advised an unhappy Joanna to leave Ted, though she also attempts to tell Joanna on the stand that her husband has profoundly changed. Eventually, the damaging facts that Ted was fired because of his conflicting parental responsibilities, which forced him to take a lower-paying job, come out in court, as do the details of Billy's accident. His original salary was noted as $33,000 a year, whereas he was forced to admit that his new salary was only $28,200. After Joanna has told the court that her present salary as a sportswear designer is $31,000 a year, the court awards custody to Joanna, a decision mostly based on the tender years doctrine. Devastated with the decision, Ted discusses appealing the case, but his lawyer warns that an appeal would be too expensive and Billy himself would have to take the stand in the resulting trial. Ted cannot bear the thought of submitting his child to such an ordeal, and decides not to contest custody. On the morning that Billy is to move in with Joanna, Ted and Billy make breakfast together, mirroring the meal that Ted tried to cook the first morning after Joanna left. They share a tender hug, knowing that this is their last daily breakfast together. Joanna calls on the intercom, asking Ted to come down to the lobby alone. When he arrives, she tells Ted how much she loves and wants Billy, but she knows that his true home is with Ted, and therefore will not take custody of him. She asks Ted if she can go up and see Billy, and Ted says that would be fine. As they are about to enter the elevator together, Ted tells Joanna that he will stay downstairs to allow Joanna to see Billy in private. After she enters the elevator, Joanna wipes tears from her face and asks her former husband, "How do I look?" As the elevator doors start to close on Joanna, Ted answers, "Terrific."